प्रेम सब वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. Sitaram everybody. And this evening, as we begin our discourse, we are going to learn for these 3 nights. My intention is to give discourses that would reveal some of what we are knowledgeable of, some of the things that we practice as you are here tonight. The reason behind it is what we are focusing on for these Yagna. To give you more than the normal run-of-the-mill discourse about our Ganapati, the Lord we love so much. Tonight, as we are about to begin, draw your hands as we do invocation mantra, simple prayer, and then we'll continue with our discourse. And it's Gyaan Yagna that is focused on Ganapati power. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadisevitam Kaveta Jambu Parichara Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Viganeshwara Padapankajam Sarvamangalamangali Shive Sarvat Sadhige Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. One last time, everybody. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Sit down, everybody, and welcome to our first night of these 3 nights of Gyaan, as I labeled it, Ganapati or Ganesh Gyaan Yagna. In these 3 nights, my aim is to go into discourses that would elucidate, that would, just bring to the fore some of the things that we take for granted. Little things. The explanation as to why we do certain things. Tonight in our discourse, we will be reading from the Brahma-Vaivat Puran from 2 separate sections. Initially, we're reading from Ganapati Khan, where we will hear different katha about Ganesh Baba. But then we journey into another section, where Lord Krishna is speaking to Nanda Baba. Lord Krishna, when he grows up a little bit, after Kans had been destroyed, Nanda is able to get from Krishna because of Nanda's parentage, Nanda's lineage. How did Lord Krishna end up in the family of Nanda? We heard that in the discourse I did for Gayatri Jayanti, when Gayatri Mata comes. And Lord Vishnu says, I will be born into your family of cowherders. In another discourse, where in the Mahakal, that Jyotirlingam come from Shivpuran. Mahakaleshwar Jyotirlingam discourse. When Hanumanji is witnessing the devotion of this child worshipping this small lingam that brings Lord Shiva to the earth, he tells him that a certain amount of generations from now, in your family of cow herders, Nanda will be born. Nanda. And this Nanda will be very close to Mahavishnu. And the entire family is going to be, by then, the ancestors, the Pitras, are going to be able to relish in the conversations that come from Nanda and Krishna, who is Lord Vishnu incarnate. So tonight in our discourse we are going to go in a section where Krishna is talking to Nanda. And Nanda is asking him about some things about the sun, the moon, dreams, all type of strange information. In fact, in the beginning you will hear him say that this question, don't ask me this. This is a secret file. Don't ask me this question. This is a secret. And the father will press it. He wants to know more. And then he gives him the answer. You and I benefit from that tonight. Tonight, before we go further, many people are doing worship for their Ganesh. But one thing I want to start off with, somebody sent me a message. Pandit, Sunday Ganesh Baba is leaving. Because they have a little murti and they're doing their little puja. And they have it in their minds that they will go and sow already murti, do Visarjan with the murti in the water. So Ganesh Baba is leaving. How will we survive? And I understand what that person meant, but many people ask the same question, or many people hold to the belief that Ganesh Baba is coming and Ganesh Baba is going. Let's talk about the making of the Ganesh Murti, and this is the traditional method where you are making your own Murti, let's say locally in Trinidad. In Trinidad, when you go to do that Murti, it comes with a lot of prayer. Boy children fast on a particular tithi and they will go on that day to the river. On the bank of the river, they do puja, different forms of mother, Ganesh Baba, Shiv Baba. Now we want to collect this mud. We want to go and make a murti. This murti is going to be used to uplift all. Please allow us to do so. Please give us your son, dirty Mata, Earth, Mother Earth. Please allow us your son for this period of time to go and do your son's worship. And after doing her worship at the bank of the river, the mud is collected. Depending on the size of the murti, big, small murti, that amount of mud is needed. So the mud is collected and the person would shape. They're supposed to fast, they're supposed to keep themselves in a particular way so that the murti then does not absorb the negative of the person who's molded it. This is one of the explanations why when you go to see murti stapan, you see the binding the eyes. Some people believe by binding the eyes, the murti does not absorb the negativity, bad karma, bad energy of the person who is making the murti or anybody along the way. We'll discuss that another day. So the problem, and then so we do puja, murti comes, we do puja, and then at the end of the utsav, which means celebration of Ganesh Baba's birthday, the murti is going to be returned to the river where it came from. The river where it came from, Mother Earth had brought back your son, Krishna Arpan. I return the mother to where we do this when we do this in the wedding. When we go to Mati Kurna. Mati Kurna is, Mati is mud. Kurna means to bring. Mati Kur, we're going, go for the mud. Kur. And when the wedding is finished, traditionally, let's say Sunday or whatever day, and the puja is done and let's say the happy couple is now on their honeymoon, you will hear the mothers, the ladies going to the river to put away all the mud that they brought. Mother, we brought you, and now we return you. Mother, we have the Kangan, we release the Kangan to you. This is now complete. The sanskar is done. And they do that. However, when it comes to Ganapati Baba, we pick up the mud sometimes by the river, but we're going by the beach because we want to go and frolic in the sea. Some people told me, Baba, the beach is closed. How will we do Ganesh Utsav this year? And the truth is, at no point you needed the sea water, because the mud that makes the murti is not made from sand or sand alone, because some are made from sand, not locally. The fact is, you are doing the returning step. The logic, some people don't understand that. There's a way to do it. Just as you understand there's a way to bring the murti into your place or your home or your temple. Likewise, when you do the final steps, when they do like Yagna, Puja, let's say tonight is the last night, we will wait till 12 o'clock and we will move the murti, lift the murti, and go and do Puja to now take out the energies that we had placed in the murti at the beginning of the Utsav. It is now time to return the murti. So you do Shanti Path, Shanti prayers, whatsoever, and you ask the Tattva, the elements to come out. And you will see the people, let's say this is the murti. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Until they are outside, or outside they do it. Basically reminiscent of what you see in Anteshti Sanskar, in the funeral, where they ask the elements to come out. In the stapan of the murti, you're putting in life, energy, so that when you worship and you bow, there's going to be some blessing. But now the murti is going to be returned. So the energies come out of the murti. And then you parade the murti. Now they don't block the eyes. The murti has no energy anymore. So the person knows this. So when you have the opportunity in the Utsav to do your worship, that's the time. When people put the murti now on the back of a van or whatever have you, and they're journeying to the river, for those of you that have done it before, when you go to the beach, that's not the place to worship. Think about it. You've already removed all the energy from the murti. Ganesh Baba is now going to be returned. Who is in the murti? There's no energy in the murti, just like a funeral. The funeral takes place at home. The touching happens then after. And then when you are going to put the body into the pyre, me and you who have attachment might say, that's my mother, that's my father, my other. But the truth is, from our Dharma's perspective, there's no energy inside of that. That is just a lump of flesh that is coming from the, from the creation of God. But there's no divinity in it. Or kosh, the anand kosh is off. Now that word might be new. We will deal with that tomorrow night. For those of you who are in the Ashram's group, you know what I'm talking about. That is coming from the Ganesh Baba, where he has 5 heads. Tonight, if you're looking on and you would like to hear more, because I don't know what to read, to be honest. If you want to hear more about that 5-headed form, send me a message in the comments below, so I will know what to read for you. If you want to read about the black form of Ganapati Baba, or the 5-headed form, what could I teach you? Tell me something. Give me some feedback. Don't forget to leave me a comment, click the like button. You can share this satsang so that many people can hear, so they can understand this. So suppose now I have this type of murti. No, before we move on to that. So remember, just as when you're going to put the murti in the water, that is just mud now. The divinity, according to the mantras that your Pandit has chanted by that time, there's no energy in that murti. That murti has been, as it were, shanti. That's the word. The peace is brought because the energy has been asked to leave, what we call Visarjan. Do you remember when your Baba is doing the prayers home by you, at the end of the prayer we left the Khalsa and we close off, we rest it down before we take off the ring? Dear Lord, we called you on this bedi, on this altar, and now because the prayer is finished, the vrat is done, we return you, dear Prabhu, so that we could get up from here, so that we with permission, to be honest, think about it. If you have to go after doing today's Ekadasi, Padma Ekadasi. So if I am fasting Ekadasi, Ganesh Chow, Ganesh Chaturthi, coming up the road, and then I want to finish to, let me say, return to eating fresh or anything, to be quite open. There must be a step. There must be something that allows me to transition from unclean to clean. From clean to unclean. Think past it, eh? From clean to unclean. You see, maybe it sounds strange that a pundit is talking about breaking your fast. But that is important. Because if it is not done properly, you're going to have problems. And truthfully, for all those KFC fanatics out there, and those people that, love what you eat, there's nothing is wrong with that. But you understand where I'm coming from, troubling me. Is there a place that God does not know what you eat? To focus on eating, not to talk about drinking or doing or liming or whatever. Is there a place that God doesn't know what you are eating? No. So when you finish your prayers, there is a way. Visarjan is the way of saying, dear God, my prayers is complete. It is now for me to return you to the upper looks, let's say the heavenly regions, so that I can clean up my baby, so that I could get a chance to break my fast with your permission. Think about that. Bear that in mind. Remember that. So when the Visarjan is done for this murti that you have made, there is no divinity in the murti. When you're bowing, that time is past. The murti now, you're going to submerge the murti to return. Dirty matter, I have brought back your son. Please bless me. Please, just as when the wedding is finished, do they worship the mud? They worship the mud when they go in the picture for the matikor, correct, ladies? Do you do her puja before you dissolve the mud in the water? But you talk to the earth. Mother, thank you for allowing us to have the wedding properly. Thank you for seeing everything through the children get married past nice. Thank you. Everybody healthy, everybody happy. We bring you back when it is done. We want to end the sanskar. We want to close that baby. And it is returned. So you don't want to start back puja. And this is the answer somebody who had asked this question. You don't want to offer sindoor and saffron on the beach and then you're going to offer him in the water. That could be confusing to people, and I agree. I know worship you and are going to, as they say, drown you in the water. And I guess it would be drowning if I call you and I tell you come inside the murti and live for 5 minutes, because now I'm going to empty you in the water. For the people that is carry hammer with them big ones with it is bring from India, don't feel that is go down just so. Don't feel that have maraloon in it, that have different material. In that village in South India where they're making those murtis, don't feel the people fasting like you and I when we're going to do Ganesh worship. So it looks nice, but it may not be what you think it is, and it may not be what you would do. You and I fast, and I agree there is prayers called Marjan mantra or Marjana mantra to purify these things. I agree with that. But my opinion is that I have my Ganapati Baba here that is with me through thick and thin. This is not the one I personally worship. This is the pretty one that Mommy Baba would not let me put sindoor on. But all the Ganesh, when you're a person who knows about puja and you're doing puja, your murtis have a stain with sindoor all over the place. He's a fella, he has cost so many prayers, so he just gets scared, especially if he's using this type of material. If it's the brass one, they just have a little watermark sometimes from study washing and polishing. The murti is working. So my whole year passed and my Ganesh Baba, I bowed to him like the one in the car. I'm bowing to him. And now in this good song, I ponder Keshava. This is just me. I could forget it. I would make use of my Ganapati, especially in these financial times, especially if you can't do the prayers properly. Where did this whole tradition of the Utsav comes from? Ganesh Baba's birthday is celebrated during this time. It is auspicious to do his puja. So in India, they have religious economy. People in Trinidad, we have different type of sports tourism, we have ecotourism, we have people who travel to a country like Barbados for the medical tourism, and it meaning to say what draws you to that place. People go to Tobago for the sun, sea, and to bask in that beautiful beach. God bless. Places like India have religious tourism, where people go as Tirat, Yatra, to worship, to see, not only India, but other parts, Nepal, China, Singapore, Thailand, have different shrines and people go. It is a event, it is like in Mecca. People go to do their pilgrimage, their Hajj. So these people journey and it becomes a business now because you have to have hotel, taxis, etc. During the occupation of the British in India, I forgot the guy's name, I know I spoke about it last week, but I'll get it for you. Tell me if you have ever heard this. Leave me a message. Teach me if I'm making a mistake. History-wise, just as in Trinidad we are under a state of emergency, don't forget, we cannot, for many people, the little liberation we got where the temple is open, I don't know what type of prayers you all are doing. Maybe you could tell me, leave me a message. What Hindu prayers could be done in 1 hour? Anybody traveling public and the working public coming home so late because of traffic. If you start to do prayers before, imagine if I started this satsang on live too early, many people would still be at work, locally and abroad alike. So we stick in the 7. But then we have a curfew. People need to travel. What kind of prayers is happening? And I hope somebody could send me a message. I would like to know. I personally felt like this was not our dharma being, practicing it properly. I would have to curtail my puja now to suit the likes of people that don't understand clearly the Hindu prayer. Bhagavad Gita talks about that. When you cut short your puja, you'll deviate from scriptural injunction to fulfill the likes of yourself and people, to show people. That is tamasic prayers. Meaning to say, if you can't do it properly, better you do it. So for me, this Ganesh Utsav, it was about doing virtual puja. For me, this Ganesh Utsav was doing personal puja. I got to sit down and do a lot of job. And I decided to do this virtual yagna to guide. Many people would like, of course, you want to do your yagna, but we have to be careful about the forces that influence our behavior. So tonight, listen to one piece of history before we get into our text, because it is important. In India, there was a state of lockdown. And like this time, people could not congregate. It was because of political. They was afraid of, I forget the political term, to incite violence and rioting and all these things. They did not want to allow the people of India to form a group, to riot, to protest against the powers that be at that time, the crown. So this one particular person claims due to religious reasons, and in Trinidad law it's enshrined, prior to this COVID it was always so, that you could not interfere, you could not stop religious occasions. Against the law books prior to this. In India at that time, the crown rule did not cover the religious processions. So they did not anticipate that this individual would create this huge Ganesh and have a, I don't want to say a march, but they did a procession with the Ganesh through the streets, and it was like a slap in the face of the powers that they are making the statement that they are still going to do what they want, and they congregated, but it was for religious reasons. Just as how you're hearing in America now, somebody came up with, because of religious beliefs, they can get exemption from COVID vaccine. So he proceeds and he's going to do Visarjan now at the end, and he returns the mud murti to the water. From that time, that procession has continued, that practice has continued. This is not to be confused with the chariot yatra of Surjanarayan or Jagannath Puri's worship with the parading of Jagannath, etc. That is something else. But the Ganesh worship was more of a political, obedient way of being disobedient. And it continued because it was celebrated now, because they stood up for the British. They stood up for them. And it also became a very valuable source of money for the district, because it was religious tourism. People would come to see the yatra, the parading of these beautiful murtis. Till today, people spend a lot of money when you go buy a temple, and it's flowers, you buy sweets, you buy everything. And the people in the area generate that funds so that they survive. It is one of the reasons why they have this amount of festivals being supported till today. It is a good source of revenue, and the economy survives because of that. So in Trinidad, this is how we did not have this 20, 25, 30 years ago. Many people did not do Ganesh Utsav in this way. The importation of murtis was not done, was not dealing. Think about that. But we still did puja to Ganesh Baba. Tonight in our discourse, we're going to hear about, have you ever wondered why Lord Shiva has to cut off the head of Ganesh Baba? Think about that. Why did Lord Shiva, in that discourse because there are different versions, where Lord Ganesh loses his head. In Brahma Puran, it is where you will find the discourse where Shani Devta looks at the eyes of Shani fall on the child and the head falls off. They are different ones. But Shiv Puran will tell you about the Trishul of Lord Shiva being cast, and the head of Ganesh goes with it. And you would think, what is Hindu people preaching? Why? Why is this done? And tonight, to reveal the intricacies of karma, you're going to hear about that. Before we go into it, tonight I'm going to go through a stotra with you, a prayer. The Sankat Ashram Ganapati stotra comes from Narad Puran. In that section, Narad is praising Ganesh Baba in his prayer. So Narad tells the greatness of his form. Nashnam stotra means the stotra that deals with the name of Ganesh Baba. And it's a common prayer now. And when you use it properly, when you use it for the three Sandhya, in the morning time, dawn, midday, dusk, and you chant it in the right way, volume, you are able to overcome hardships. You are able to, just as if I tell you chant the Hanuman Chalisa, you will get certain blessing. A shorter way of getting that type of outcome. With people sick, loss of job, financial worries, pay attention. This is something that if you don't have a copy of it, send me a message on Facebook now. I'll put up the link later for the group. You can join the group. I'll be sharing this in the Ashram group for all members looking on now, and for those of you that will be watching on repeat. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel so that you'll be alerted whenever we load more. Okay, everybody, put your hands together at this time, and we are going to chant the prayer that Narad Muni is talking about the different names of Ganesh Baba. Pranamam Shirasa Devam Gauri Putram Vinayakam Bhaktavasam Smare Nityam Ayukam Artha Siddhayet Pratamam Vakratundam Cha Ekadantam Dvitiyakam Tritiyam Krishna Pindaksham Gajavaktam Chaturtakam Lambodharam Panchamam Cha Shashtam Vigadamivascha Saptamam Vigna Rajendra Dhurmavarnam tatashtamam Navabalachandram cha dashamam tu vinayakam Ekadasham ganapatim dwadasham tu gajananam Dwadashaitani namani Trisandhyamya padane naraha Nacha vigyam bayam tasya Sarva siddhi karam prabhu Vidyarati lavate vidyan Dhanadi lavate dhanam Putrarati labhate putran Muksharati lavate gatim Japa Ganapati Stotra Savadhima Saufalam Labhet Sambat Sarinyascha Labhaya Natra Sanshaya Ashtabhyo Brahmanbhyo Yascha Likitvaha Samarpayet Tasya Vidya Bhavit Sarva Ganeshaya Prasadita Om Iti Shri Narad Puran Shri Sankatnashnam Ganesh Stotra Sampurnam Hari Om. That person who chants this prayer is able to overcome the fear that they have. That person who is praying for financial stability will be able to become rich. The person who is praying for acquisition of knowledge or to overcome an exam will be successful. The person who is praying for salvation will attain that mukti. The person that starts this stotra and uses the stotra in the chout will gain anything that they pray for. Prem se bolo Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Now, let's enter into our discourse where Ganapati Khan, we're reading chapter 18 of the Brahmavaivat Puran. Oh Prabhu, Narad Muni is sitting with Sri Hari Vishnu and he's very confused. He's very confused about all this talk about Ganapati Baba having a head of an elephant. Let's hear what happens. As we enter, as Narad Muni is speaking to Prabhu. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba Moria. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba
Moria. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya
Ganapati Baba Moria. Narayanaya Mahabhaga Veda Sadag Paragya Prichami Pratayatam Tvamaham Kachiye Jati. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba
Moria.
Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya
Ganapati Baba
Moria. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Tonight, if this question plagued you at any time, pay attention. Narad Muni says to Lord Vishnu, I have been listening, Prabhu, in this section about all the secrets of the Veda. And I want to ask you something that has plagued my mind with a lot of doubt. It is said, Prabhu, that Ganesh Baba happens to be the destroyer of all obstructions. But how is it that he faces obstructions himself? When as the son of Shiva, he loses his head by the hand of Shiva. In Brahmavaivat, a different description, I'll read it for you tomorrow, about in the Ganapati Kavach, it says that in a different age Ganesh Baba comes. How we looked in Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. And likewise, please don't think that the sansar, the wheel of sansar, only goes around once. One Satya, one Treta, one Dwapar. So when somebody is born once, they cannot be born again. That is not Hinduism. The idea is this thing is continuously in motion. So when Mahapralaya comes, which is when everything is going to finish, and then at the end of Kali Yuga, then we have the beginning of creation starting over again, and we go again, and we come again, and we go again. Ganapati Baba goes again and he comes again. Sri Ram goes again and he comes again. So there are different stories. Some where Parvati Mata was whirling the dirt from her skin, and she makes this putli and brings the air, the prana. For this reason, in the Panchmukh form, in the Tattva form, he's in charge of the air because of that reason. Likewise, in this text, they talk about how Lord Krishna incarnated as Ganesh Baba. It is this discourse where Krishna incarnates as Ganesh. It explains why his belly is so huge. Lambhodhara. All the devatas are looking like they came from the gym. But Ganesh Baba has that protruding stomach. Do you know why? If you want to hear that discourse, if you have heard it, fine. But if you would like to hear that discourse, send me that in a message now. Otherwise, I'll read something else. Ganesh Baba happens to be the incarnation of Krishna, the Lord of Golu. And he becomes the son of Parvati. How is it that this individual is undergoing so much trouble? It is surprising to hear that by the moving of Shanidev, he lost his head. And it is even more surprising. It is even more surprising that Lord Shiva, he removed the head of Ganesh when he chose the Trishul. I am very confused by this, Prabhu. Lord Vishnu says to him, I am going to give you the history of how the Lord to overcome the obstruction meets with the obstruction himself. And it doesn't have to deal with him alone, but it has to deal with the karma of his father. Please pay attention. You know, there's a saying, the sins of the father fall on the children, meaning father and mother alike, not father alone, not to say male alone. Listen to the history of not only Lord Shiva, but who caused it. So there's one discourse and then another one behind that. And it has a little information for me and you. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba Moria. Jai Gananata Shri Gananata Ganapati Baba Moria. Ekada Shankara Suryam Jagannath Param Kutra Sumali Mali Hantaranga Sulutam Bhaktavatsalaate. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba Moria. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba Moria. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba Moria. If you love your Ganesh, Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Tonight, listen. Lord Vishnu says at one point, Lord Shiva was trapped in a battle and he was spinning. He was turning and he was destroying the demonic. There was a battle, Narad, between Mali, Sumali. These two brothers were demons, Mali and Sumali. And they were against the Devatas. Lord Shiva is standing with the Devatas and he's fighting Mali and Sumali. The Trishul is blazing as if it is on fire as he's turning and swirling this weapon, destroying one after the other, one after the other. All the members of the enemy side is falling. With the striking of that Trishul, they would fall dead. Something is about to happen. Narad Muni listened to the hand of feet and how destiny is shaped by actions. And why blessed people, holy people, serve or try to come out of sinful actions. Pahi pahi Gajanana Parvati Nanda Gajanana Pahi 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 Gajanana
Parvati Nanda Gajanana
Lambodar he Gajanana Lambodar he Gajanana Lambodar Gaj Vicharna Lambodar Gaj Vicharna Pahi pahi
Pahi pahi pahi pahi Gajanana
Parvati Nanda Gajanana Shri Suryo Mogashule Nashani Tulayaye Tejayatam Jaho Sahajesanam Mad Yoham Rat Ye Chatana Nitpata Pahi 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 pahi
Pahi pahi
Gajanana
Parvati Nanda Gajanana
Darsha Kashyap Putro he Mrityo Matalokaye Ye Yati Kritavashi Tamashlok Dvijale Shrapyate Maheshwara Pahi pahi
Pahi pahi pahi pahi Gajanana
Parvati Nanda Gajanana Shri Suryanarayan Swami ki jai, Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. The battle is ferocious and Mali is only disappearing. He has great amount of power. And then Lord Shiva lines up his gaze, holds on to the Trishul as he sees Mali riding full speed onto Lord Shiva, coming to him. This is the moment. Lord Shiva prepares the Trishul. It is time for me to destroy you. And he lifted the Trishul and he's pulled back now, arched, ready to let it go. And by the hand of fate, and we'll talk about that just now, Suryanarayan passed right in front of Mali. In the battle, everybody fighting and here, watching where you're going. And Suryanarayan Swami drove in front of Mali. And as Lord Shiva let loose the Trishul, Suryanarayan Swami took that Trishul on his chest and dropped down unconscious, dead as it were. The father of Suryanarayan, Kashyap, that son of Brahma, sees his son full of luster, the valorous Suryanarayan, lose life, lose light, lose everything and fall lifeless on the ground. The Trishul is still stuck into his chest. And that father goes quickly. Tears are running from his face. He lifts the head of his dead son into his lap and starts to bawl. All the devatas are frightened. Hahakar Suras Chorya Vali Purbrabye Kardashrapyate Jagata Sarva Bhashkarayetam Vritayate Shivaye Yatam. The gods felt very terrified because of the power of Kashyap. He brought all the snakes, he brought Garud, he brought everybody into this world. At that point in time, the universe got afraid. The energy stops. The battle stops. And Kashyap, who happens to be this powerful individual, great amount of age, grieving now for the fallen son, pronounces a shrap upon Shiva, and he says, "Oh Shiva, you wicked person! My son is not your enemy, and you have killed him." In the same way, I put shrap on you by this same very weapon. Just as how you lost your head, you did not think, your head was not in the logical place, you did not make a good decision. Like this, you are going to one day throw this trishul at your own son, and he's going to lose his own head. And you will know my pain. You will know my suffering, O Shiva. The head of that child will be destroyed, just like you losing your head in this moment. My child is destroyed. Umapati Mahadeva ki jai. Lord Shiva takes it because he was wrong. He didn't mean to do it. He was sorry. Many times people imagine somebody bounce down somebody. God forbid, it's a very harsh, horrible topic to talk about. And there are people who drink and drive, people who, are very reckless on the road, and that's a different thing. But sometimes accidents do happen. People do make mistakes. But the guilt with the person should make the person, and I'm saying this to all my brothers and sisters, when you get into a fender bender, you stand up for the right, no argument. But in the moment when your adrenaline is pumping, there's no need to be nasty. There's no need, that's not going to solve anything. There's no need to be vicious. Go to your police, go to your insurance and let them fight it out. Something happened and you walked out of that vehicle without a scratch. Be the type of Hindu to ask, be the good Hindu. The accident already happened. Uncle, auntie, tanti, little girl, are you all okay in that car? Car will fix. Car will fix. But when somebody dies, that's different. In this instance, an accident does happen. And Lord Shiva is humble because he's wrong. He knows he's wrong. He's true. He's true. Sir Giant Swami is on the ground. Kashyap Muni is a great individual. As I said, he has great amount of teach, power. And he blesses. He instructs Shiva to retract your trishul. And he blesses Sir Giant Swami with divine energy. And Surya gets up. By the rays of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, Sir Giant Swami is reborn. And he stands and he says, "Daddy, what did you do? Why did you put shrap on Shiv Baba?" Let's hear what happens. Jai Bole Baba Tav Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tav Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tav Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam. Nama Pitar Bhaktya Shankar Bhaktavatsalam Ye Gyaan Shambho Shrapcha Kashyap Shrap Ye Na Choko Ye Ya Patah Ye Aati. Jai Bole Baba Tav Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tav Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tav Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam. Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam. Surya Narayan Swami is confused, Daddy. Why did you pronounce a shrap on Shiv Baba? He got angry with his father and he says, "Look, I got back up, I'm okay. What will happen to his son?" Kashyap Muni is still angry, he doesn't say anything. Sir Giant Swami turns and he says, "Shiv Baba, I bless it. Just like how I got back up, your son will regain consciousness. He will come back up. What my father has said will happen, but your son will live." Surya Dev goes to pray for forgiveness. Something happened to him. He goes to pray for forgiveness and leaves all of them there. Brahma smiles as he knows that something is coming to play. Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu leave and they retire to their abode. Surjani Swami puts a shrap on Mali and Somali that from today, when people have pustules, Mali, when people have pustules on the outside of their body, whether you call it leprosy, whether you call it pimples, the formation of this scourge upon the human body, you will be called Mali. And Somali is when a person has septic tendencies or the formation of this type of inflammation and rotting flesh and this type of thing, what we might call gangrene, but it also could be septic organ, septic blood. These things will cause a person to lose their luster, and you will become the workers of Yamraj, my son. Yamraj, Surjani Swami is speaking. And you will become his workers. And when, depending on the karma of an individual, you are sent out Somali, the person will have gangrene. They might lose limbs. They might die if Surya worship is not done. When a person has these type of ailments, Surya worship is paramount. When a person has skin ailments like psoriasis, when a person has leprosy, or as simple as pimples, bad acne, this is allergies where you see like how the Sahara does interfere with everybody, and some people scratching and bumps and buttons and so on coming up on the body. Worship Surya Narayan Swami, and this came from that. And thereafter, Brahma gave them the protection of working for Yamraj. The person who chants the protection prayer, which is given here after the Kavach of Surya Dev, the person who does worship in Pushkar, the person who visits this place, the person who reads of this discourse, that person overcomes ailments. That person regains their luster. Let's say you lost your job, you failed an exam, your health is waning. The person regains their luster, just as Surya did, and they're able to overcome their issues, their problems in their family, financial problems, etc. Principal Sri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Narad Muni, this is why when it was time now for Shiv Baba to have a son, how long was Ganesha alive in that Shiv Puran discourse? Ganesh Baba, Lord Shiva doesn't even know this is his son. He did not have the name Ganapati. He does not have the name Ganesh, the one with the elephant head. He does not have that. You ever thought about that? The son of Ganesh at that time did not even do Nam Sanskar. He did not have a name. He was not appointed a situation. In Brahmavaivat Puran, when Lord Krishna is getting his Janu, Lord Ganesh gets his crown, his position of Ganapati. We'll read that one another day. So Narad Muni, Brahmavaivat Puran, Krishna Janam Ka. Narad Muni again asks a question, because one question leads to the next, and this is how it goes. He says, I understand that Lord Shiva got struck in that moment, and this is why Ganesh Baba lost his head. But why did Surya have to get that damage? And I wanted to read this because somebody asked me about this, and this is why I'm reading this tonight. In Brahmavaivat, there are different discourses. In previous satsang I mentioned how Krishna was very kind to Nanda and Yashoda, and why. So this is where that is happening. Nanda and Krishna are sitting down and they're talking about, while looking at the moon on the 4th day of the Bhadrapada, well, the Ganesh, the Jayanti night, why is that such a big deal? Why is it so bad? And this discourse, why is it that as Hindu people, we say when we pregnant people or different people, or when you look at an eclipse, it is bad. We know scientifically now that if you go and you look at the sun when it is an eclipse, the radiation could damage your eye. Things could happen to you. So it's not good. But in Hinduism, if there is an eclipse, we don't do certain type of prayers. there is prayers that could be done in an eclipse that is very auspicious, depending on the birth chart of the person. You'll hear that tonight. But let's say for a pregnant girl, for example, it is very inauspicious. So people ask Baba what to do when the eclipse is coming. So we have the tradition of don't stay one place, keep walking, so that there is no problem. So now I'm only ask the question, why did Surya have to get that Trishul? What did he do? If this is what caused Lord Shiva and Ganesh to have problems thereafter, what caused this? And this now is one of the discourses that Lord Krishna gives to Nanda. Nanda wants no secrets. He does not ask about normal questions. He asks Krishna, tell me what is the story, or what is the history of good dreams. Where does good dreams come from? What is a good dream? And how, in a different chapter, what is bad dream and how to overcome bad dreams. Praise the Lord Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. In this one he asks, in this chapter, I'm reading chapter 79, Krishna Janam Khan of Brahmavaivat Puran. Nand is going to ask him a question and Krishna doesn't want to tell him. Let's hear what happens. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Sharanam, Vedanam Janakasya Chakhum Prithvi Tvaya Vina Veda Puranitam Gopayanta Janayati. Jaya Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam,
Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba
Tab Sharanam, Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Umapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. When Rahu was given the eclipse position, I'll give you that discourse another night. When they were chilling in the ocean and the Amrit comes out, Rahu is a demon, goes and sits between the sun and the moon. And he sits there and he gets to drink a little bit of the Amrit that makes him immortal. And Lord Vishnu, when the alarm is raised, he's not a Devta, throws the Sudarshan Chakra, but the Amrit had already passed here. So when they cut off the head of Rahu, the head remains alive. For this reason, when you're doing puja home and you have the 9 leaf, Rahu is the head and Ketu is the body. So Rahu, because he sat in that meal row between the sun and the moon, he was appointed the one that will separate lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, come between the sun and the moon, come between that, cause that shadow to form over them. So we know that history. So Nanda is saying, O Lord of this universe, and he's talking to Krishna. So for people that question, does Krishna really save the people of Vrindavan before he dies, before he goes? Listen, Nanda is referring to this man as the Lord of the universe. Why is viewing the sun when there's an eclipse bad? Why is viewing the moon on the 4th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Bhadrapada, which is Ganesh Jayanti night? Why is it prohibited? Please tell me the secret. This is something that is not given in the Puranas, in the Ved. Please give this wisdom to me so that I could share it amongst the people in the village. The Lord says revealing this secret is prohibited. It is secret. It is not given in any other text. Please forgive me, Father. Ask me something else and I will teach you that. But not this one. Because by doing this, it will cut away from some of the pain. You are trying to save people, and looking at these things cause pain to people, and people have to, go through pain because of their karma. Oh Krishna, but you are the Lord of Kripa and mercy. Do not deprive your devotee of the knowledge. Why is viewing the sun in an eclipse bad? Why is viewing the month on that moon on that month so bad that a person on the first day of the Utsav gets shame, blame, all types of accusation? People get divorced, people go through breakups because I want to see if it will really work. You ever hear somebody say that? To test it. And I'm telling you, I've seen people go through the world because of it. maybe on our last night, if I read that discourse about the moon, the last night I'll read the discourse how to fix it. I know in the group we had discussed it, but I didn't give you the discourse. So if you would like to know how do you overcome looking at the moon, send me a message. Shrununanda pravakshyami katameitin puratinam yang shruva nilayetam tiratye snanayate. Lord Krishna says, O Nanda Baba, listen, by listening to this Puranic story, this old story, a person gains a lot of blessing. It is as if a person has bathed in the holy waters just by listening to this. It burns sin. Once, Jamadagni, young, very young. This Jamadagni is the father of one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu in Ashram form. Jamadagni is a very powerful Muni. But in this time he's young. There is no Parashuram at this time. And his wife, at that time also very young, Renuka, they have come as a now married couple in an ashram, in a hut close to the Narmada river. And these two are, as it were, on their honeymoon, spending time with each other, enjoying each other's company. And as married people are supposed to enjoy each other. With passion, it says with passion, the husband sees his wife. And in the same way, that righteous wife, knowing that she has married and chosen this individual to be life consort, when a person enters into the ashram of marriage, brahmachari, giving up brahmachari, going into grihasti, your marital bed, sex life is part of marriage. It is not a sin. And that is what is about to be discussed here. They are enjoying each other's company. Everybody understand what I mean? As they have now been married, they were now together. Onara, the place reverberated with that positive energy, with that love. The bees, the flowers, the water was conducive, and they were happy with each other. This great-grandson of Brahma, with this holy lineage, is enjoying now his marriage. His wife, his consort, his better half. And one day, whilst he's residing in the ashram where they are, the house where the guru is called the ashram, Surya Deva comes in the form of a Brahman, a little boy. And he says, listen to the words, "Oh, you low, despicable brahmachari." But he's not brahmachari because he's married. You who perform all the breath, you who do all the literature, write the books that uplift other people, why are you behaving like this? Renuka felt ashamed and she runs to hide when somebody talks at her, because what is he delving into? What is he involving himself in? His wife. In the company of his wife. You who are well versed in Dharma, why are you acting like this in the opposite of what you're supposed to do? You are not supposed to be engaging in sexual activity. This is prohibited. More so to do it in the daytime when I, Surya, is the witness whilst I am passing and I am seeing all. It is a sin to engage in this type of conjugal pleasure whilst I am in the sky. And Jamadagni, seeing Renuka hide, turns to Surya and he says, where's the sin? When a husband touches his wife. You who is supposed to be versed in the Ved, you who is supposed to be the father of Yamraj, the god of Dharma, how is it that you are speaking out of turn in this most hurtful way? Do you know who I am? You are supposed to be the one who is in charge of all the Vaishnavas, the people that work for Mahavishnu. The one who protects us with the Sudarshan Chakra is my God. And I have entered into another ashram. Do you not understand the value of that Grihasti ashram, or what it means to be married? It doesn't mean I stop praying or stop doing vrat, but it means I am living a different life now. For the propagation of family, for the propagation of my consort, I have relations with my wife. For anybody that thinks that having relations with your spouse is wrong, please listen. Just like there's a time and place for everything. When a person gets married, oh Surya, oh you poor person, it is a sin to interrupt this personal private moment between husband and wife. For this reason I put shrap on you. You are going to be eclipsed. You are going to be covered. All your luster and all your rays and all your power, you are going to be covered by Rahu one day. The clouds will hide you. And for this reason, you're going to remain distant. Furthermore, you are this blazing form. You want to talk about wife. You want to talk about how wrong I am. Because of your blindness and your lack of understanding the value of the woman in your life, I put a shrap on you. You are going to lose your wife. Sanjana will not, that is the wife of Surjana Swami, Sanjana will not be able to handle your heat and she will leave you. Principle of Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Sanjana is the wife of Surya, and at one point she did abandon him. So she has 2 kids with him, and when she left her shadow to maintain the home as a mother, and that shadow has 2 children with him. But this is where Shani, when he gets angry because the mother is moving different, the mother puts a shrap that you will limp. So that this has a effect there, because when people say, well, how come Shani Gralis takes so long? Shani does not walk straight like me and you. His foot was cracked by the ankle, so he walks with a limp and he has a stick in his hand, and this is why it takes long to move. So it takes long to get over his problems, and that started because of this shrap, because of the pride of Surya. Because I am here, you can't do that. And he does not know the Dharma. You will be robbed of the mutual love of your consort because you don't appreciate the feelings of that lady. And in this way, Surya felt very hurt, and he gives back shrap to Jamadagni. How does Jamadagni die? He's destroyed by a Kshatriya. I'll read that for you. That has to do with the discourse where Ganesh Baba loses one of his tusks in this Brahmvaivat, maybe tomorrow. He says, you will die at the hands of Kartavir Arjun. O Brahman, no matter how powerful you are, you'll be helpless. And now, when he heard this, he says, oh Surya, you feel you can put shrap on me? You're going to be destroyed by Shiva. This is where it comes from. He says, you are going to get the Trishul in your chest by Shiva. He says, one day, you're going to be in a battle with Mali and Somali, and you will receive the Trishul of Shiva on your chest. Vrindavan Beadilala ki Jai. Let me stop here. I'm not going to the one with the moon. That's the next chapter. We'll do that maybe tomorrow night, depending on what you want to hear. Tonight, after listening to this, it shows how karma works. When we have children, regardless of age, good and bad happening to them, it sounds very harsh to say that happened because of karma. When we do Gura Puja and we're listening to the discourse with Shani Dev, he says, my father gave me a job to adjudicate who is good and who is bad. And when you are bad and you have punishment to get, I give punishment. But if you are good, I give blessedness. This is how it works. When something is done now, good will bring good, but bad will bring bad. And the karma of many people are being intertwined. So a complete stranger might do the bouncing, but there's a reason. That person has to live with that guilt or maybe go to jail or something like that. But it happens in this web. Web, that's the word we use, web of birth and death, of checking and balancing. You did 3 births ago, did something. You did 4 births ago, so in this life you're going to meet and you're going to pay back what you owe, or pay for what you have done. These discourses tonight explain where the eclipse came from, and I didn't read one, and where Lord Shiva and Surya have that problem. Why Surya and Swami had to get the Trishul. When you are eclipsed by Rahu, and you will be more effective at damage when there's a shortened year, when there's no leap year, not a leap year. Leap year is different. In that leap year we could do different prayer. At that point in time you should not be looked at by the people, because by doing that people will lose merit, people will lose the barakat, people will lose their luster, people will lose their honor, people will lose their life in the form of pregnancy. Definitely it affects well, we know in English, we'll say in the Western world, the radiation causes birth defect, could cause deformities and all these things. But then for every pregnant girl, if you're studying the sun and this god part, what about the radiation from the cell phone? What about the radiation from microwave food? Isn't that radio, those types of radio waves going to negatively impact the child in the same way we have the quick seconds we have sometimes in a solar eclipse? Think about that. If you are trying to abstain from that type of radiation, do you abstain from the other forms of radiation as well? When you are putting things into your body that will damage the child, remember, we don't have women being able to birth more than 5 children anymore. Things have changed. Things have changed in the children when they cannot sit and focus, they cannot sit and pray, they cannot sleep. Children are developing their cycles as young girls earlier, faster than before. Something is happening. Could it be maybe the cell phone? Maybe it's the things we eat. The fertility of parents are dropping. And if we don't talk about it, it's not right. But if as a Hindu we believe that the radiation is bad, just say that. The energies, the rays of the sun could be good when it is you're facing east, and this is why I face east, so that the rays of the sun could hit my body and bless me with upliftment. But on the day of an eclipse, it is a bad thing, which is the truth. It is more ferocious, more intense, and bad for the unborn child. Then, what about the other forms of radiation that we surround ourselves? Every time you see the pregnant girl with the phone like this, their fathers, their grandparents talk, because it is shooting, it is causing trouble. The need for the blue light reflective thing. I myself had to get in the glasses after the COVID, with all the TV and everybody's on their phone and the radiation damage the eyes. Many people had to go and put this new layer now to bounce back that radiation from their eyes. So it's definitely something there, something to think about. For this reason, when people are in this way of pregnant, when people have eyesight problem, when people have illness, they should not look at you during this time of eclipse. It will cause trouble. However, if the person have you at the time of birth in the birth chart, in that month, if you are predominant, if you are in the 7th house, 8th house, 9th house, 10th house, 4th house of the birth chart, when they are doing different type of shroud, when triping the shroud, etc., when you are at noon, when the eclipse happens at noon and they can look at you through the reflection in water, there in certain prayers, this eclipse can bring about a certain amount of benefit and blessings. That discourse I'll read for you another day, it's long. So, meaning to say there's a benefit. Simple that. Then there's a lot of problems with pregnant girls and looking at the eclipse, and this is why. Because he thought he knew it all. He thought in that moment he was full of pride. And he speaks like this and he incurs the shrap, and the shrap manifests now in the battle long after with Mali and Somali. He wasn't thinking about it, and the Trishul came. That moment puts Lord Shiva in trouble with Ganesh Baba. Ganesh Baba, the Lord of obstruction, to overcome obstacles, Vigneshwar, has to undergo this moment because of the pain from previous moments being caused. Likewise, in you and I life, sometimes we want to know, where was God? Where was God when this thing happened, why did God allow this to happen? As a Sanatanist, this is the value of karma. And when in Gita it says you have to rise above karma, it's difficult to do it. But it has to be done in order for the soul to become free. We have to overcome all the different things, the obstacles that are holding us back. And Narad Muni, listening to all of this, he says, Prabhu, thank you for giving me this knowledge. Now I understand why Lord Shiva threw the Trishul at Ganesh Baba. Why he ends up with his Ganapati head, Ganesh head, elephant head, Gaja head, Gajamukh. Now I understand why Surjana Swami has the problem with the wife. Why he's in the eclipse. Why is it bad to look at the eclipse? When we did not have telescope to look at the sun, please understand that your Dharma had already solved the mystery. So great is Sanatan Dharma. Maybe this is why at the end of the satsang we say Satya Sanatan Dharma ki jai. Victory to this Dharma. Victory to this way we think and how we plan. So imagine this Ganesh. Where could this Ganesh go? Based on what we were talking about in the beginning. If you don't have a Ganapati Murti and you get a Murti and you want to return it, fine. If you are doing this Ganesh Chow Vrat and you want to do your Vrat and release the Murti, that's fine. But if you are not doing the Vrat, your Ganesh is still with you. He is within your home. And after Sunday when the moon changes and we are going into now the Pitra Paksh time, Ganesh Baba is still there with you. Please be careful. And at some point, because of the chemicals that we are putting in the Murti, chemicals that I explained already about Sindur, the volume, throwing it into our water wouldn't last long. It wouldn't be right. If it's made of mud and natural ingredients, that's different. Right is right and wrong is wrong. But for me, Panikeshwar, I'll go by my normal Ganesh Baba, and today, tomorrow, next week, next month, I'll be bowing and touching my Ganapati Baba who is with me all the time. My Ganesh is not going anywhere. It says that when you have the Ganesh, the elephant, we'll talk about that tomorrow night. The elephant in the home, Lakshmi Mata has to come. We'll discuss that. If Ganesh Baba is going somewhere, you'll have a problem when it comes to that Gaja Lakshmi form. Where she's the one, you notice they always in the picture together, Ganesh and Lakshmi. Wherever the elephant is, wherever the elephant god is, wherever the elephant pitya is, Lakshmi has to come there. She has to live there. So people put Ganesh Murti, pitya, plaque, the elephant itself on their walls, in their space savers, in their homes. Not to say Murti where you have an idea, but just the elephant itself. And that brings, according to Vastu Shastra, it brings Lakshmi to your home. So if that elephant has to remain there for Lakshmi Mata to come, where are you putting out Ganesh for? Think about that. Friends of Lord Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. Tonight as I conclude, devotees, I hope you share the satsang, please. There are many people, many brothers and sisters confused by these topics that we've talked about. They're confused about the actions of Lord Shiva with Lord Ganesh. And they're confused about why we throwing away the Ganesh in the sea. People go and they cry as if Ganesh Baba is going somewhere, and you wonder, what are these people thinking? Is he going anywhere? No. And why are you doing it? And you're doing it wrong. When you're doing the puja on the beach, and you already closed off by lifting the murti and all that is being done, and that has to be done. When you start on the murti and you're going to dissolve it, it has to be closed off properly. We spoke about that tonight. If anybody has any other questions on these topics, please send me a message and I'll get back to you. Tonight I'll post the link for the group in the WhatsApp with the ashram. If you would like to join our ashram, please join us and be part of this learning experience. Everybody at this time, please join your hands. As we conclude our first night of this Ganesh Gyaan Yagna, it was my pleasure to read from the Brahma Puran for you. I hope you learned something tonight. And if you have questions, feel free. Please share the satsang, like the satsang, leave a comment, tell me what did you hear, if you've ever heard this before, your thoughts if you have a question. And till tomorrow night, we will continue in our discourse. Everybody, Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Chasaka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Together everybody, Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Prem se bolo Mahapati Mahadeva ki jai, Pawana Sutta Hanuman ki jai, Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki jai, Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai, Satya Sanatan Dharma ki jai. Jai Jai Sitaram. Everybody from me and Priya Mata here at the ashram, have a good night. Sitaram. God bless you. Until tomorrow, have a good day. Bye bye.